Are you running this thing or what?
I'm not sure, sir.
Guess we'll find out.
Technically,
well, I'm here as an observer, given that the Cadet Advisory Council's job is to advise me, not the other way around. So I'll try to be quiet.
Yes, sir. Technically, I'm supposed to be doing the same since I'm region, not squadron, but.
True. We'll create an open dialogue here.
Yes, sir.
Guess who's on this one? The commander just switched over to this one.
Oh, okay.
Are you there, sir?
I am.
Oh, awesome. That was a great class. I got some California wing executives here watching with us.
Oh, geez. Now you got me nervous. Well, we'll introduce you, Chief, a little bit later so we don't make all these cadets nervous. Senior NCOs watching over them.
Well, I did have a task for your CAC rep, I think is also the RMR rep, and he hasn't reported back to me, and he said he was going to by the end of March, and I have not heard back from Spots Cadet.
Well, I don't have a current Spots Cadet.
Okay, then he must have been out of another wing. So hopefully he got contacted by the RMR chair.
Perfect, because Cadet Winther is our RMR representative. He is on the line.
Awesome.
We'll give it a little more time. We've got a couple of minutes there, Captain Winther, and then we'll see what the roll call looks like.
Yes, sir.
Captain Winther, who is the Utah Wing CAC representative? CAC chair, do you know?
I believe it is Cadet Captain Chris Jansen.
Okay.
But since I've, I guess, been active since August, I have not seen.
Okay. Well, we'll see if Cadet Captain Chris Jansen joins us. I thought that too. I just wanted to be sure. One of those things that in the last week of the change of command, it hasn't broached my calendar. You guys have been keeping your noses clean, so good job.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Captain Winther, did you run the Cadet Challenge session?
Kind of a little bit, sir.
Okay. Did you have good attendance?
There was quite a few, but then the person who was actually supposed to attend didn't.
Right.
So Captain, I can't remember his name right now. The
Brady?
education and training. Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Captain Wiley.
Yeah, he got on. Told most everyone to go over to another class, and then we just kind of held a open room or I volunteered to hold an open room for the rest of the class.
Perfect. And did you just run the emergency services for Cadet 1?
Yes, sir.
Anything else you want to do today?
What do you need me to do, sir?
I'm just asking. You've stepped up. Well done. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Chief, just so you know, Captain Winter is a recent enlistee. He's about to head off to basic, right?
Yes, sir.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. What branch of the service?
The United States Marine Corps, sir.
Oh, I talked to you last
Yes,
weekend.
sir.
Good, because you're a poolee right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and
So-
remember, I said you better not call somebody with stripes, sir, in the Marine Corps, except for your drill instructor.
Yes, Chief.
That's good advice right there. You better listen to him.
Well, once you get out of boot camp, but everybody in boot camp will be a sir or ma'am to you. But after that, you'll be, they will, somebody with stripes will jump all over you if you call them a sir.
Yes, Chief.
There you go. Well done. Well, let's see here. Looks like we've got 3 cadets. Cadet First Lieutenant Barlow. What's your unit, Cadet?
I'm with Phantom Squadron, sir.
083, okay. And Senior Master Sergeant Newman, you are Price. How about that? Well, we'll give it a few more minutes. If we don't get too many here, I'm going to have to probably call it, and we'd like to send you off to something that would be more exciting than staring at a screen waiting for people to show up. So we'll give you a few more minutes. Unless the 3 of you really want to discuss what the challenges are of the wing, I'm happy to listen to them, but it's your counsel. Let's see what else is. Next we've got ComLog, roundup for minor errors, practical ways to manage stress. Ooh, there's a good one. How many of you have had the privilege of listening to Colonel Boyd, Brigadier General retired Colonel Boyd?
I have, sir, at previous encampments. He's very enjoyable.
He is indeed. All right, we're 5 minutes in. It looks like we've got 3 cadets. So what does the council want to do? You can certainly go join Colonel Boyd if you'd like, or some other seminar, or we can continue the dialogue. It's up to you. Rousing.
Master Sergeant, what do you prefer? Or Senior Master Sergeant, what would you prefer?
Me?
Yes.
I don't mind, as in if you'd like to talk about some current things going on within the wing, I wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Due to the fact that there's not really a lot of cadets, there definitely wouldn't be a lot of dialogue to take place, but.
Oh, hold on. Somebody decided to call the home phone that doesn't work. Well, let's kick off the meeting with talking about some of those issues. We can get through those with yourself and Cadet Barlow and certainly Cadet Winther from the region side of things. And then we'll see what time's left there. And certainly it's on my list now to really re-engage the CAC, see what we can do as far as representatives go and get that dialogue going on a much regular basis. But who wants to jump in? It's your advisory council. I'm certainly the one that receives your advice. So looks like Captain Hammond's showing up. She wants to hear. Good.
I was just wondering if my cadets showed up.
Doesn't appear so, ma'am.
I guess I'll stay here then.
I'm sure you could text them. Which cadet would that be?
Captain Lee?
You had to say Captain Lee. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
She's got her ghost, so she's only 2 months away from Major.
That's excellent. All right, Master Sergeant Newman, what do you got on your list?
Well, looking back at probably one of our previous meetings that we last had, I think that's when Captain Christensen was able to last attend.
Okay.
Last thing we talked about some social media aspects and just tagging each other's squadrons on posts and things like that we make. I haven't updated anything on my own squadron's Instagram and then my squadron commander keeps track of the Facebook one. But I want to get back on that and to try and post some new things. And then hopefully if there's some current events that happen, such as this, I can post about the squadron participating in this because I know that my squadron commander attended a few of the lessons today as well. And then there was something about talking about a Utah wing continuity. Can't remember what she wanted to do with that exactly. A Utah wing website, Utah wing honor guard. And then she talked about wanting to do a activity with multiple squadrons, whether it be leadership, character development, emergency service practices. Yeah, that's probably the most of what we got out of the last time. And that was probably back in September. And we haven't had a meeting other than that. And then we tried having a meeting last month, I believe, but that didn't happen just because there was only 3 cadets again that participated. So I guess that's an update for CAC.
Okay, excellent. So it sounds like we need to kind of do what we need to do anyway, wing-wide, is reinvigorate the CAC alongside of the cadet program as we come out of post-COVID. So that's on my list I just wrote down. We'll have that conversation with the squadron commanders, get the representatives engaged and excited as well. But I appreciate that feedback. Let me give you kind of a little primer to some of the things that I highlighted as I was interviewing for this job. I'm a technologist by trade. I wouldn't call myself the most pervasive social media person. Most of what Captain Hammond could tell you that I post is about successes in some of the projects that my wife's making me do around the house, or hobbies, and one of those is building an airplane. So, but I do know the power of what social media can bring to making the cadet program viral, and it's probably a bad term to use in a COVID environment. I hope all of you are kind of chuckling there, but the fact of the matter is one of the things that's most effective at bringing cadets through the door is another infectious and excited cadet. I'm a former cadet myself. I survived the Ohio Wing Cadet program before coming out here to Utah for school. And I can tell you the individual who got me involved in CAP is now on the short list for a 1-star at the Pentagon in the Air Force, after having successfully served as a wing commander of a bomb wing in North Dakota and the vice commander of a bomb wing in South Dakota. And, you know, as much as I'm riding that coattail of his, it was his infectious nature about Civil Air Patrol that made me want to participate as part of the organization. Didn't hurt that my dad was a former cadet lieutenant colonel, and I kind of wanted to beat his 2 diamonds and rub it in his face. And unfortunately, all I got to do was wear his 2 diamonds and put a smile on his face. But the fact is we can leverage that technology. So I think that's where Captain Christiansen was going. I know she's very much involved in the social aspects of social media, and has a lot of insight there that could potentially bring us a lot of value. She went to DC with us a number of years ago, and I've never seen a person with a camera take more pictures than in my life. And it was fun and exciting, but at the same time, I was like, get that lens out of my face. So I'm all on board. I'd like to see the advisory council come up with a very strategic plan as to how we can use and leverage the technology available to us in a prudent and safe way to bringing the program to the potential cadets as opposed to the potential cadets to the program. Hopefully that makes sense, that we want to take the cadet program to the potential cadets rather than bringing those people into the squadron building first and trying to get them engaged there. So excited about the prospects and the opportunity potential for that. So let's keep that on the list of high priority items. Excellent feedback. Thank you, Master Sergeant. Lieutenant Barlow.
Yes, sir.
Here's your opportunity to potentially pipe in from the Phantom perspective.
And I don't have any experience in like social media at all. I don't have any personally, but I know we were looking at getting somebody who is more knowledgeable on that aspect, creating our own social media channels for Phantom Squadron and start promoting things there. We tried to get a Great Start program going this month, but didn't have the resources needed to get it done this month. So we're looking at delaying it to possibly next month. But we were trying to get our social media platform running.
Okay. Cadet Newman, when she mentioned a wing website, is she talking generally about the wing's website or having some more specificity around cadet focused contributions on the wing site? Do you remember?
I think it was more of cadet based, because I did write down PT activities and then have a cadet login on the page is what I wrote down. So I'm assuming those are the 2 main points I got from that.
Okay.
But so I definitely think it was something more available for cadets to be able to log into and get I believe, I don't know if it was the Utah Wing Continuity that she wanted to do that with, or the website, but just like have it where multiple squadrons or cadets have access to ideas and such, so then they can bring it to their own squadrons.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. You know, not that I'm going to invoke Chief Furness, but he was president of my commander's call I just had with all the squadron commanders, or Captain Hammond could also attest to it. But again, as a technologist myself, knowing the power that it has to bringing people closer together, hearing that there's some interest in the cadet side of having the ability to communicate one with another across the wing is encouraging. So just wrote that down on my list as well. If we're providing that opportunity for some of our leadership at the senior level, we should probably try to safely create an ability for the cadets to do the same. Keeping in mind, obviously, there's different constraints between the two groups, but opportunities to learn from each other. One of the charges that I want to toss to the CAC is finding a way for us as a wing to better integrate with each other from a cadet cadre perspective, but also doing so within the region. Let me give a little context to that, and maybe that'll generate a little bit of dialogue from your side, because I want to get the perspective that you might have. There's been a comment that as Utah Wing cadets participate in activities that extend beyond the boundaries of the wing, we often find ourselves in what would look like separate entities, right? The Utah Wing cadets go off to their side and they have a good time together and communicate, but they don't mingle very much with the other regions or wings cadets. And I thought that comment was very interesting, because one of the things that I truly enjoyed about my days as a cadet was finding the commonalities amongst all of the Great Lakes region cadets when participating in region level events, such as the National Cadet Competition. It wasn't so much fun to win the Ohio Wing competition. It was awesome when we won it, because we knew we were able to see a lot of other different things come out of the different wings. I have still to this day lasting friendships from those interactions. And so what I want to see us do as a wing, and perhaps the CAC can champion that across the units, is finding a way to going beyond Utah when we participate in things like HEART or Region Cadet Leadership School or other opportunities, to mingle together and learn from one another. Does anybody have any insight or context as to that, or have you seen that, experienced it, or heard about it? I'd like to kind of get a little feedback from you guys.
So for me, I remember kind of seeing that when I attended Heart Ceremony.
Okay.
And I know that Utah Wing, though, was the largest group that attended it. And so it was kind of where all of us kind of had our own friend groups already made, if that makes sense. And so we just hung out with one another. And I remember like seeing the group of like Wyoming Wing off to the side, and they were all doing their own thing as well. But I think that once we got up to the actual activity of Heart, they kind of made us separate. They grouped us up in different groups with other cadets from the United States, as well as with cadets from Canada. So then we could all kind of get to know each other and make friends that way.
Okay.
And so I really think that that's one way of getting cadets to mingle, is just by, if there is a specific activity taking place, then having groups being made up. So then there is a shared interaction, because other events that I've been to before in the past, I've been to Hobie leadership seminar, I think it was.
Okay.
And they divided us up completely, where we would have no kids from our own school in the same group as us. So we were forced to interact with different kids. But that's, I guess, my main experience amongst it. But I have seen it, and I personally try to engage with other cadets, but I don't know how to exactly make other cadets do the same.
Well, I certainly don't want to give the idea or impression that we want to make cadets do that. We want them to desire to do so. So I think that's a good thing to probably put down on the list and report back, and I'll certainly address that point with Captain Christiansen. Lieutenant Barlow, do you have any insight from your perspective?
Not really, sir. I haven't done many multi-wing or multi-region exercises. So
Okay. Cadet Winther, do you have any perspective from your side?
I've seen that as well, especially at encampments. they're normally they've been put together where a flight commander and flight sergeant are either both from Utah Wing or are both from uh, other wings. But I've also seen where it's been one from Utah Wing and one from another wing, and they've been great friends that have lasted years. So I believe it's definitely something that we need to work on. It's just encouraging cadets to go out and look for those opportunities to talk to and connect with other cadets from other regions and wings.
Okay. Well, I can make this pledge. The wing's going to certainly do what we can to create those opportunities. What I mean there is, there's oftentimes some barriers when trying to get some of those activities put together where they are multi-region, multi-wing opportunities, that it becomes a financial burden. So while I can't promise anything, it's going to be an emphasis by which we'll address as part of our plans to giving the cadet cadre an opportunity to interface more and more with different people. One of the other things is getting our cadets excited about the potential opportunities for National Cadet Special Activities that they can then put themselves in that position. I participated in several when I was a youth. One of which was IACE. You want to talk about a culture shock, taking me out of Ohio, putting me in Sweden with 15 other different nationalities. So we didn't go from multi-region, multi-wing. We went from multi-country. What an awesome experience to have. We need to get our cadet cadre excited about those prospects and opportunities. Now, obviously, it's limited. Not everybody can go to IACE and not everybody can do those things. But if they have that idea that, there's opportunities that avail them, they'll work harder towards achieving what it takes to be eligible for it. So excited about that prospect, but I'd like to see the CAC, find solutions there if they can.
Sir, if I may.
Sure.
One of the things is just what I was mentioning earlier about trying to do squadron activities with multiple squadrons. That might be a good way to start engaging cadets into meeting with new ones, because of the fact that one thing that I like with Wing Conference, and at least being able to attend it in person, is the fact that I'd be able to meet with a bunch of other people, especially going into the different classrooms and such. It would be other people who are in the same interest as that, and so we'd share information, and then when we'd go home, we'd continue to talk about said thing or go further into it. And so if we were able to do squadron activities, I feel as if that would be a good way to start easing in the cadets to meeting with new people, just with the cadets who are mainly have to stay at local areas, who may not have the opportunity to travel as far, but then they still get that outside of their own squadron experience to be able to meet with other cadets and share information.
Very good point. Excellent point. It does start with home. Captain Hammond can probably back me up, but one of the pitches I made is having each of the unit commanders coming up with 3 to 4 pre-planned Saturday activities, kind of in a backlog or in a folder of sorts. So the cadets need to be an integral part of participating in that planning. But those activities are to be designed to be run locally, but distributed wing-wide, so as to provide that very opportunity you were talking about. Very insightful. Good comment. Let's see.
Sir, if I may.
Yes.
I believe that there should also be a way to do this virtually, since as a wing we are so spread out.
We are.
So that those cadets from St. George and other places that are don't have many squadrons kind of nearby can also meet and talk with cadets from other squadrons.
Yep. Good comment. Absolutely. We should find ways to do that. And I think that's probably some of the genesis behind Captain Christiansen's comments about social media and the technology affording opportunities for you guys to communicate together, engage one another. So, put your thinking caps on, both locally with your unit commanders as well as more globally across the wing, which is a good purpose for the CAC of putting those heads together and doing so. And the beauty is I think you guys have gotten probably pretty comfortable, if not annoyed, with virtualized meeting platforms as you've dealt with COVID in your regular life. I don't necessarily want to put that burden on you, but leverage that capability to do what we're doing right now, right? This, as much as I agree with Master Sergeant Newman, I would have much rather have been at a venue today, interacting in person with each and every one of you as your commander, but more importantly, as a fellow volunteer in this process. But we do have the means and the technology and the opportunity available to us now to shrink those borders through using this tech. So whether we execute a hybrid activity together, who's to say you can't set up a webcam and do a rocketry event together, right? And everybody walks up to the camera and says, "My rocket's the ugliest," and we see who wins at the end of that competition. That's what's fun, right? It's I'll give a little bit of a story just as a little context. I was stationed with I wasn't stationed. My father was stationed at the Air Force Academy as an instructor during his military career. And at the time, I was a young 12-year-old Boy Scout who loved to do rockets. My dad is an aerospace and astronautical engineer. And he had me build rockets as part of the curriculum that he was teaching the cadets there on the parade field. We'd launch these rockets on the parade field, trying to teach them about power to weight ratios and drag coefficients and basically trajectories. And some of these cadets would show up with their little tiny rockets, very creatively configured and painted with nail polish, and couldn't understand why they only went 10 feet off the launch pad. So it became a competition between Major Hess's son and all of his cadets in the class as to who could get the rocket the furthest. Never you mind that we cheated and they always gave me a bigger motor, but it became that competition. And there are still conversations I have. I was 12, these cadets were 18, 19 years old, right? So there's a 7-year difference. I still get emails about how they were so upset that they lost that competition. That's the kind of dialogue I want to create amongst our cadet cadre. So if we can do that virtually through that technology in the meantime, or create the opportunities to do those types of events inside the wing or with our partners outside the wing, let's find those opportunities. So work with your squadron commanders to create those opportunities, if you would, please. Any other comments? I heard a little blurb there. So I'll reach out to Captain Christiansen and see where she sits as far as the CAC goes. We'll certainly work with all the squadron commanders as far as engaging the CAC a little more frequently. But again, it's your counsel. I'm to receive. This has been a good dialogue. I very much appreciate the honesty. But in the future, I really want it to be a cadet-led council that you guys bring together the best of your ideas and come to me and tell me what it is that you want. So to that end, I'm going to stop directing the dialogue for the next few minutes. And if you do have one of those opportunities or those thoughts, tell me what you want. I want to hear from you as to what you think could make a difference in the short term as we get into this post-COVID recovery phase for the next few minutes. If you've got one of those or two of those, now's the time to shout them out, and I'll stop talking.
Personally, what I think we should do is, as we start to move into a phase where we're able to do more in-person meetings, we should do kind of a hybrid thing where more squadrons that are more local to, say, the headquarters or a squadron near there can meet in person, and more distant squadrons can join into on a video conference, because I've always found that in-person meetings allow for greater dialogue and better communication between members of the council.
Okay. We can definitely facilitate that, and should be the norm. You're right. As much as we can gather you guys together safely, let's do that. But make sure that we're including those units and their reps outside. Sergeant Newman.
I was just curious about what type of event would you like to hold? Like that would be hosted at the wing building. I know that encampment trainings have been going on recently, and I actually wasn't able to attend in person to the last one because the weather was bad in the canyon. But so I was just curious what events you were wanting to host like that would have multiple squadrons involved.
Well, certainly to Lieutenant Barlow's point, CAC chair, representative meetings should be something that we should facilitate as best we can. But the possibilities are honestly endless, and really comes down to what's going to be the interest from a unit perspective. Obviously, driving far distances, right? Who are our farthest cadet units right now? Vernal, Cedar, Logan, all of those. I mean, Cedar's 4 hours away, right? If there's an opportunity, and 4 hours is a shallow estimate. That's if I jump in an airplane, I can trim it to that. What can we do? Where can we do it? That brings together those opportunities. Like you said, a canyon can get snowed out pretty quickly or have bad weather. Finding those opportunities is going to be paramount. But it really comes down to what you guys want to do. What's going to bring together the greatest number of interested cadets? So put your heads together as part of that council, and you can work that plan.
I feel like something that might be fun to do to kind of reinvigorate the cadets is some type of like squadron competition just amongst each other. Something that still can be done online as well for online cadets to participate in, but just a competition of some type.
Okay. And what type of things do you think would work well in that scenario to compete against?
Something that Phoenix Squadron has done, at least at the beginning, was we did a boot shine contest.
Nice.
And so each week, everyone took a picture, worked on their boots throughout the week, and each week took a picture and sent it in, and we posted it on our Facebook page. And then the squadron voted on which ones they thought were best. And then you earned a certain number of points, and whoever had the most points at the end, that was like first, second, and third place prize.
Was it a nice shiny pair of boots?
That was the first. My apologies, sir, but that was the participation trophy, sir.
That's right. That's right. No, excellent. No, things like that. Did you have an idea there, Sergeant Newman?
I was gonna say I feel like a fitness one would be really fun to do just in person, but it definitely would be way more difficult to do with the cadets online.
Sure, but you could compare scores from unit to unit. You could still make that make it a possibility for sure. I think that's a good Genesis idea. I think you should take that back to the full CAC and come up with some interesting solutions there. The boot shine's a pretty funny one. I like that. But along the same lines, professionalism. A competition for best dressed uniforms or most configured, but we don't want to put a financial burden on people, but we want to engender this idea of professionalism and capability and skill. But I think you're on the right track, so I keep those ideas going. One of the other things that I noted earlier with the commander's call, that we need to put an emphasis on our phase 4 cadets, or getting the phase 4 cadets that excited about the prospects of completing that phase 4, providing opportunities for more advancement from cadets below and within. But another thing that is kind of important to me is that we haven't fielded a color guard or drill team to the national competitions in some time. And I know obviously the environment and the COVID situation has precluded those existing or happening in the last year, but prior to that, it wasn't a real strong emphasis. So I'd like you guys to consider putting a panel together or discussing amongst the CAC as to what the palatability or the desire is to try to do one of those things, because those are natural competitions, right? Building out the cadre from a unit to unit perspective to win against one another and create that camaraderie. Some of the greatest experiences I had in CAP was participating in that volleyball competition and the innovative drill, because it was fun to see the different ideas across the wing and across the region. So think about those two if you would, the color guard and the drill team competitions. One last thing that I'm going to note, and then we'll probably just cut you loose, give you some time back, and then you'll have an opportunity to join another session for the next session. There's a couple of check items specific to the cadets in relation to uniforms that need to be accounted for that are coming up this year. The BDUs are being fully eliminated 15 June 2021, so it's coming up. So if you still have cadet members that are wearing the BDUs, or even seniors, I'm not suggesting you should walk up and say, Captain so-and-so, but keep in mind that from a cadet perspective, BDUs are out 15 June 2021. We do have a back stock of ABUs at the wing headquarters, and also have had them distributed across the wing in a limited sense. So if you have cadets that are needing those uniforms, please get with your squadron commanders and let them know that need, and we'll get that taken care of. Other things to keep in mind, any use of the ultramarine name tapes is also being phased out June 15th. So you need to swap over to the full dark blue with the silver thread on all uniforms. So if you have people that perhaps have a burden from a financial perspective to getting in compliance there, make a note of that cautiously and quietly to your squadron commanders, and so that they can let me know. One other thing, August 1st, this is going to be painful for some people, but the 4-pocket service coat is being phased out August 1, the old style. As I watched the excellent color guard and POW videos that were played this morning from our honor guard, all of them were wearing a coat that's going to be phased out April or August 1st. So if you have those, let us know as well, or let your squadron commander know, and so that we can work a plan to hopefully facilitate some success there. in replacing those. So any questions on those?
I just have one, sir.
Okay.
So with those jackets being phased out, where could we get some that are within regulation? I've always had trouble finding that because every time I'd go onto Vanguard or some site like that, it would say like blues blouse or something like that for senior members, not for cadet use.
Right.
And so I don't know where they're like where to get any, if that makes sense.
So we have multiple possibilities, and this is where our command NCO might be very useful and helpful in facilitating that update. We do have an airman's attic at Hill Air Force Base where service coats may have been turned in by non-enlisted or non-re-enlisted individuals, and even officers at times will donate their jackets to the airman's attic. We do have access to that. So it really comes down to noting what the sizes are that might be needed in order to get in compliance, and us working a way to getting over there and taking a look at see what's on the racks and get you guys properly fitted. So I'm with you. It can be frustrating at times, but we do have access to those resources. There have been some donations made of the newer style jacket, so we can also check our stock there. But that's all part of this dialogue that we also need to have the squadron commanders continue with, which is talking to one another. You may find that there are service coats that are within compliance that are just sitting in closets somewhere that could be used by some of these cadets that might be, using the 4-pocket version that are just untapped. So it's really more about communicate. So if you have a need or of needs within your units, again, take that to your squadron commander, get a spreadsheet put together, get that information up to wing, and we'll certainly see what we can do to help there.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So yeah, it's going to be a sad day. I converted over to the ABUs a while ago and got rid of all my BDUs. And I remember because when I was a cadet, they had just phased in the BDUs. So that was a long running uniform. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm not that old, but I'm not that young either. So the BDU has been around for a long time, but stock is going to start getting low, and certainly it hasn't been an active uniform in any of our services for some time. So that wear out, phase out date is coming up quick. So keep that in mind. And like I said, we've got lots and lots of stock of donated ABUs, and many of them are brand new. So opportunities there, but if you guys could help us by keeping the boots on the ground and the eyes and ears out there, we'll get you squared away. Any other cadet perspective items that you want to bring to the commander? You have his ear. A couple more minutes.
One thing I'd like to say, sir, is you were talking about getting the phase 4 cadets to promote. I also believe that we should get that we need to work on the phase 3 cadets, because what I've seen in my squadron that I've experienced personally was that once I hit second lieutenant, especially with the older cadets, once I hit second lieutenant, there was really no more drive for me to promote, just because I had hit my second lieutenant and I had really gotten it, and there was no real way for me to actually be able to earn my spots. I just based on, so I think that we should look at that and how to get them to continue up the chain.
Absolutely, and that's a very valid comment, Captain Winther. I'll be the first to admit that that when I saw your name come through from a promotions perspective, I was very happy to hear that. I was very pleased to have you and your squadron commander put together the packet submitted for Cadet of the Year for last year. Totally get that perspective, right? You get to that point where here you are, you're going to enlist in the Marine Corps. It's the next phase of your life, and a lot of our phase 3 cadets might be in very similar situations because of timing And certainly COVID hasn't helped because it slowed down the promotion scale. By no means take my emphasis on phase 4 as being the only emphasis. It's just an emphasis that's going to get some of those cadets that are working or a lot closer to that stage, while certainly backfilling those phase 3s to take the lead after that, right? So it's a process, a continual process. But you know, if you put a little pressure on some of those guys that are 15, 16, 17 years old and they're phase 4 or on the precipice of phase 4, and you start going, I'm going to catch you, sir. Of course, you know, in some cases that's not going to be the case, right? You're heading off to basic, and thank you for that service and that sacrifice. But absolutely, it's not just phase 4, but let's do our part to get you know, phase 2 into phase 3 too. I mean, Mitchell is nothing to squawk about as far as being trivial. That is an accomplishment, a very, very big accomplishment, which is why our services reward that achievement nicely when enlisting, and certainly the academy appointment considerations. So as a fellow Mitchell recipient, absolutely. But I'll be the first one that's going to end up showing up at Price, walking up to Senior Master Sergeant Newman saying, where's the second lieutenant? Where's the second lieutenant? So know that that's going to be certainly an emphasis on my part. Thank you for that comment. Anybody else? We got about 7 minutes, but we don't have to take it all for this hour. You have the ear.
Good afternoon. Oh,
No,
No, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say good afternoon, sir. One idea that me and my cadet here thought of is making a Utah Wing Discord, just to have more interaction with other cadets and also have the ability to have questions answered that no one in your squadron can answer.
Yep. No, that was discussed a little bit earlier, but very.
Okay.
No, you're fine. Very good comment. Very good comment. Sergeant Newman.
I was going to mention something along the lines of, I don't know, like I guess best way to assist my squadron, because there's only 2 cadets at my squadron that are of, I guess, like leadership rank, including myself, and both of us are fairly busy, but the other one also doesn't really attend much Civil Air Patrol activities anyways.
Okay.
And so I'm wondering what I could do. And I was the first cadet to join my squadron in like 4 years. So I had no really mentorship, if that makes sense, other than from senior members.
Sure.
And so I was wondering what ways would be good to try and build my squadron, I guess, and like have good lessons, get more interaction in. And I know that a majority of it could probably just come from going through Civil Air Patrol manuals. They're just so hard to go through by myself.
Sure. No, it's a fair comment. Anybody on the line have an idea for Sergeant Newman?
I have a little bit of advice with that. What we did is, because Phoenix Cadet Squadron is pretty much in the same place, is that we have sergeants on the books, but none of them are actually active. So it's just myself, and my cadet commander. And what we kind of have done is, we've got a good number of airmen, and what we've kind of done is just given them the ability to hold positions, not really officially, but we gave airmen, the ability to help with the aerospace classes, the leadership classes, the classes, help them, to develop their leadership skills, as well as excite them about the program. And Like I believe Colonel Hesse said that Excited Cadet is definitely going to help recruit your numbers in the squadron. You know, it got the cadets excited and got the cadets talking about Civil Air Patrol outside of the squadron. So I believe that that's something that you could do to help.
I really appreciate it. I will say, back when we had a little bit more cadet involvement, I believe probably before COVID, I did try assigning that type of stuff. Like you're really good at this and you're really interested in this. You know, like we'd really like it if you would be able to do a lesson about it or something like that. And some cadets would do it, but then they would never do it again. Or some cadets just completely left.
Yeah, we want to avoid putting them on the spot to where they get too nervous, but creating an environment where, in the senior world, we call it a non-attribution. You can say whatever you want without the risk of somebody blaming you for it. The same kind of is the environment we want to create for these cadets that feel safe in making mistakes. As one of the things that I've learned as a corporate leadership type individual in my professional life is that so many times we get to a situation where people are afraid to make mistakes that they won't go out and stretch themselves to extend themselves to a success. And so creating a culture where mistakes within reason, obviously we don't want people removing appendages like fingers during a rocketry exercise, but giving them an opportunity to feel safe in an environment where they can learn as well as make mistakes, but also be understood and that they're all there the same way, learning the same lessons, moves corporate culture in a positive direction far more effectively than being timid about it. Now, in my professional life, we recently had a mistake that was made where 500,000 customers weren't able to transact on their credit cards for about 2 days. That's a big mistake, right? And somebody's probably going to cower the next time they go to make a change that could impact people that way. And that's unfortunate, but at the same time they happen. So creating that balanced environment where you can feel like, I'm going to assign you this. You don't have to feel like it's not something that's going to ruin your life, but let's learn together and create that environment. It's going to be very helpful for all of our cadets to feel like that's part of their value add and proposition. But the other thing is, as you mentioned, that some of those cadets aren't very active. Your squadron commander is probably going to talk to you about reaching out to some of those cadets that aren't active or recently went inactive with a very strong campaign of, we want you back, because having us all together when we can meet together safely is going to make a better organization overall, and everybody's going to have a much better time. So that's awesome. Good comments.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Also, if I could add,
Sure.
you could assign a team to do those presentations or something like that, to where it doesn't just feel, the cadets don't just feel like it's all on me. Then that could also help ease that stress.
Agreed. All right.
Thank you.
So, let me. I think we probably could go for another hour, but what we'll do is there'll be a concentrated effort by the command to reach out to the unit commanders to reinvigorate the CAC, find a way to get you guys to communicate together, provide opportunities for you to meet, and put you in a forum where the commander walks in the last 10 minutes instead of the whole hour, and you give him the rundown and your checklist. This has been very helpful for me. I very much appreciate the contributions each of you have made today, but know that I'm absolutely engaged in wanting you guys to have the greatest experience you possibly can within Civil Air Patrol. Not only for the time frame now while you're young and in your youth, but the impact it can have on you long term, right? I look back on my CAB cadet days as being some of the fondest things that I've ever had in my life happen. And, you know, I'm facing the prospect of marrying off my oldest son in a month. And that just scares the living tar out of me. But at the same time, being able to look backwards and recognize the influence that CAP had on my life to get myself through to the point where I could do something like that, have a kid that's responsible enough to take on somebody else's responsibility. So keep up the good work, do good things, and keep communicating with your CAC reps within the wing. Bring those ideas to your squadron commander and to the CAC, so that the chair can certainly raise those to me. But you'll find that I'll be more than happy to sit there and listen as we go along. So any last questions, comments, concerns? Otherwise, I'm going to cut you loose and let you guys enjoy another session by somebody else. All right, hearing nothing. Keep up the good work, and look forward to hearing more of your ideas and solutions as we go along.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You too. Have a great rest of the conference too.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.